Hi, I'm Angus Wright, and I also go by Angus By Design. And this is part of a practice that I call my Satsang of One, where I listen to an episode of the Ram Dass Be Here Now podcast. I journal it online. I also write down quotes in my physical journal, and then I pull an animal oracle card as a wellness tool to just cultivate mindfulness and continue reflection on what I learned that day. It's all part of my personal wellness recovery action plan and part of my personal daily maintenance for maintaining my mental and physical wellness. It's something that I've been doing for quite some time now, and yeah, so that's what this is. Um, so this episode of Be Here Now. Um, the first quote is under the title "Methods for Moving Away from Madness." So the flip that occurs, what we are really working with, is to figure out how to enjoy the unfolding storyline of your life without being trapped by it. How to delight in life, to enjoy the play of uniqueness of each form and how it works and how you interplay and interact without being trapped in the narrowness of it. And that's Ram Dass. The next quote is under holding tightly, letting go. It's interesting to learn in this lifetime how to inhabit roles lightly, how to inhabit them with joy and passion and with emptiness, how to delight in the lila, in the play, and begin to see your experiences as grace, as a set of opportunities through which you can become free. These opportunities were handed to you, and it is bizarre to get to the realization that there are no errors in the game. The ones that have been handed to you have been tailor-made for you, Ram Dass. And then being together alone. How many of you take the feeling of aloneness and feel its pathology? Have you ever thought of flipping that around? Ram Dass. And he sort of talks about being with others yet alone at the same time. And kind of like the responsibility for helping each other become free from entrapments, right? In the sort of day-to-day stuff that we get caught up in and affected by, right? So our roles in the marketplace. When we quiet ourselves and look beyond the ego, we can see the part we play in each area of life, including the marketplace. By marketplace, he's referring to basically capitalism and the structure of the system of making money. Form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness, no other than form. The art is not to deny form to grab at emptiness, but to have the emptiness fill the form. And when you quiet down enough and listen to your own life, to hear your unique manifestation, and you're really quiet, you get through the obsession with individualism that you had as an ego in our culture at this moment, and you realize that you were part of systems. You're part of the family, you're part of all of these different communities, ethnic groups, all of that stuff. And then you bring to that with your awareness, the listening to hear how you manifest within that system in a way that is not with attraction, not with aversion, but really playing your part. Playing your part, dancing the dance. And that's Ram Dass. And then, and he's kind of speaking to, well, he's not kind of, he is speaking to Dharma, right? And I wrote down, he speaks to business as Dharma, and he equates it to like the Dharma of making love, the Dharma of any relationship, really. And he says Dharma meaning, how can you be in this form in a way that does not create suffering, in a way that liberates? How can I act in a way that does not exacerbate suffering? Ram Dass. I love the opportunities that I get through learning through the experience of Ram Dass, right? Otherwise known as Richard Alpert. I find that he is so accessible. And so I'm just going to put that energy in here. So the energy of, how can we learn our place in this whole system, keeping in mind that there are no mistakes, keeping in mind that all of our experiences are had as part of a bigger plan, right? Something that has always been and always will be part of the bigger fabric, and how we can apply that to ourselves in order to not be distracted or attracted to things that aren't meant for us, right? Giving a good shuffle. There we go. There we go. So today's spirit card is the Wombat. So the Wombat spirit is telling us to be at home. Be at home. So Wombat spirit, be at home. The oracle message in this card: burrowing deep into the ground, remaining safe, sound, and well fed with family is a special trait of the Wombat. Home sweet home is always available to you if you recognize that well-being is the truth of life. Wombat spirit reminds you that to be truly at home in the world, you need to find comfort within your own skin. You do this by accepting all of your experience without judgment, through a deep honesty and love of life. When you feel the freedom to be yourself, you can begin to truly feel at home in your life, with your family, and tribe. Right now, you're in a beautiful place where you can hang up the coat of your identity and settle into a true sense of home and well being, understanding that all is well. Everything you do from this place rings true in harmony with spirit. And the protection message. Could it be that you're not feeling comfortable in your own skin? Thinking that the only way you can be with others is to hide under the protection of a mask or identity that you created to protect yourself from getting hurt? This mask or persona is supposed to make you feel strong, but it really just robs you of your integrity. Wombat spirit arrives to nudge you to drop the false masks, because it is not others who will hurt you now. It is you who are hurting yourself when you aren't being authentic. It's okay though. You can course correct if you are willing to be yourself no matter what comes. Even if others are not in agreement with your authenticity, you are safe with spirit. Oh my. I love that message. I love how it fits in with the lesson and with the lessons over the last few days even, right? Because essentially what Ram Dass is speaking to is learning to be alone while surrounded by people. And when we think about what that experience is like in the real world and in current times, it can be very challenging and difficult when it comes to relating to family, friends, holding on to people from the past because we're afraid to be alone or we're afraid to launch out. I personally feel that way. I personally sometimes question whether I'll ever make new friends or be able to do the things I used to do. You know, I think it's a natural part of life, right? So I really love the idea that what Ram Dass is saying is essentially like learning to be alone within a place, learning to drop all of those identities, and just to realize that we're literally a part of all the communities. We're all one, right? I am a non-binary man who is 46 years old and Caucasian, and part of my personal journey was to break through all of those entrapments, right? Where I felt separate from people. So seeing people for their color, for example, or even sort of feeling like we're separated by abilities, right? I have mental health disabilities. I have things that create challenges for me. I am neurodivergent. I come from trauma. I've had adverse experiences. And personally, I feel very reassured that none of that is in vain, right? That where I am right now, if I'm being right here, right now, all of those experiences were part of a bigger lesson for me, right? It doesn't change those experiences. It doesn't make them less of a big pill to swallow. It doesn't change the fact that I still have affection by the results of like those experiences. But it does personally bring me a little bit of wiggling room in terms of feeling like, okay, I'm here. I'm here now. I'm well. I'm breathing. I'm I have food, I have my dog, I have all of those things that I love around me right here, right now, right? And it's interesting because, you know, I participate in some groups, and that was the thing that I've been sort of reflecting on in the last few days, is the fact that if I go too far backwards, then that just leads me down a path of depression and rumination and dissociation and all sorts of things because of that trauma, right? If I move too far forwards and I'm trying to predict the future, well, then that is what just sort of activates all of my anxiety and PTSD and trauma and not being sure of myself and, you know, what's to come. So again, it just sort of, I just love the lesson in today, and I love what the Wombat spirit is saying is be at home. And it, it could be literal, you know, if you need to be in a space that feels like home, that feels safe, that belongs to you, then that's what it means, right? If it means being at home in your own skin, accepting yourself, right? That's how I also take it. Being comfortable in my skin is very important to me. It certainly touches on all of the hang-ups that I've had in my youth and in my teens and in my 20s and 30s, as I used to be over 500 pounds, right? So being comfortable in that skin, and then being comfortable in that transitional skin as the weight um, fell off and came off, and as I worked through all of those hang-ups and attachments to be where I am now, um, I really just love that message that as long as we're comfortable in our skin, as long as we're comfortable in the idea that we're just part of one, right? This whole planet is a system, and we're all part of it. We're here. Um, that makes home, not to be cliche, but that makes home where the heart is, right? And my heart beats right here. So that's, yeah. So that's me and my thoughts and my feels on today's lesson. So thank you for watching. Feel free to reach out. There's comments. There's, you know, if you look up Angus Wright or Angus By Design, you really can't miss me in the digital world. um, and as long as you have good intentions and you're open um, to receive me as I am, then I'm happy and more than happy to connect with you and continue these conversations. So thank you. Namaste.